In this lesson, we're going to nail your workspace. By the end of it, you're going to be completely clear about the perfect way to set your DJ gear up, not only for your DJing, but also for your health. And I'm going to give you some psychological tricks at the end as well, which just help you to do this more often and enjoy it even more when you are. So let's get started first on the 5 important things for any DJ workspace. So number 1, the most important thing is the height of the table. It has to be a comfortable height for when you're stood at it. Not sat, because DJs don't sit down, you'll be on your feet before you know it, trust me, but stood. So you have already in your house work surfaces at this height, they're in your kitchen. So there is a good starting point. If you go and measure a work surface in your kitchen, that is the height you're looking for. And however you can do it, try and find somewhere to put your gear that's around that height, because it's going to save your back, trust me, in the long run. So the second thing is connected to that really. Try and have it so that when you walk up to it, there aren't cupboards down here or something down here that you hit your knees on before you get close enough. With DJing, we get lost in concentration. We're like this and that, and then we're around the back trying to do something. And you find that when you're doing that, naturally, you're leaning beneath the table, you're leaning into it. And if you've got some cupboards there, you're going to keep hitting your knees on them and they're going to start really annoying you. Most kitchen work surfaces overhang for that reason, right? So you're going to need to make sure, if possible, whatever you set up has got some kind of space below for your legs. So number 3, have a stand for your laptop. Your laptop is something you're going to be, like it or not, using. And a lot of the time you're going to be here thinking, you know what, I'm going to take 10 minutes out now to go and buy a few tunes. Bang, your laptop's in here, you can do that. You're stood up, everything's where you need it. You don't need a posh laptop stand like this, but you do need some kind of stand. I mean, this is a stand for very tiny laptops or for iPads. This kind of stand can tuck in the back, not with this gear because it's just not made for that kind of thing, but you can get stands like this that adjust so you can tuck your iPad in the back like that. And they're better than nothing, or you can go all out and get something like this that will put your laptop where you want it. Speaking of where you want it, tuck it away to the left or right. Don't put it in the middle. It might feel like the middle is a good place, but actually when you're DJing in front of a crowd, you're not going to want that. So get used to having it on one side or the other. Also, if your eyes are not as good as they used to be, having your laptop screen up at eye height or near eye height is going to be a lot more comfortable for you than tucking it at the back somewhere where you're squinting down, twisting, and your upper back starts to go and you're not comfortable at all using it. So get your laptop up on a stand. So number 4 is about your speakers. Your speakers ought to be really close to you. Why? 2 reasons. Most important reason is that for beat mixing, your speakers need to not only give you very clear sound so you can hear everything, but immediate sound. Believe it or not, if your speakers become 10 feet away or a little bit further, there is a perceptible difference between the time that sound leaves the speaker and it reaches your ears. What does that lead to? Poor beat mixing, sloppy beat mixing. The sound's literally reaching you a little bit later than everything you're doing in your headphones, which means it doesn't sound so good. So having your speakers really near to you is a good idea. But the second reason is that you can have them louder before you annoy anyone else. You want to get lost in this. You want to be in the zone. And you can do that better when your speakers are really close to you. Just like if you're setting up as a mobile DJ, you want your speakers to be right on the dance floor. So people there have a great time, but the people at the edges can chat. Same thing. Get your speakers near you. It's your DJ area and the best sound in the room is right where you're stood, which is exactly what we want. And the final point, which is one that a lot of people don't think about, it's not an issue here in this studio because there's lights everywhere, but make sure your DJ area is properly lit. If it isn't properly lit, if you've ever sat reading a book when the sun's gone down on holiday on the beach or whatever, it gets to a point where you just can't read anymore, you're straining away, right, you get a headache, you think, oh, you know what, I'm not going to bother. You don't want your DJ area set up so it's always like that with dim lighting. You know, quite often they're shoved in corners, DJ areas, because hey, we don't live in a perfect world. It might be in the corner or under the stairs or somewhere in your house that's not really optimal. Put in the extra time to get some lighting right on your equipment. It's going to really make it easier for you to do this stuff. So they're the 5 big tips. I want to give you 2 now which might surprise you, but they are equally, I think, important in just ensuring that you practice as often as possible and that you get yourself ready for gigs when you're practicing as well, with the added advantage that I'll get to at the very end. So the first one is that if you can leave your gear set up at all times, all the better. It means there's less barrier to getting going, right? If you have to get all your gear out, set it all up, plug it all in, it's just sometimes too much trouble, especially if you've only got half an hour to practice or something. But if it's already set up, if you've got a laptop only for DJing that you can leave plugged in, even better. But look, one switch on the wall and everything comes on. How great is that? You're ready to DJ instantly. It's a really good thing if you can do that. So try and find a place in your house that you're allowed to leave it set up at all times. If you do leave your gear set up at all times though, a little tip is to get some kind of way of covering your gear when you're not using it to keep the dust off it. Dust covers like these from Deck Savers are good, but you could just as easily throw an old sheet or a blanket or something over it, or if you're a DIY type, build a lid or whatever, but something to cover your gear up with is a good idea, because otherwise you're going to spend all your time dusting it, paintbrushing all the dust off like we do here when we're filming close-ups of gear, and in the end, your gear might end up getting a little bit damaged because someone accidentally spills or drops something on it or whatever. Covers are a good idea if you're going to leave your gear set up all the time. And the second thing is, try, if possible, and a lot of people can't do this, but just think it through, try, if possible, to set your gear up so you're facing into a room and not facing the wall. You know, a lot of people will, quite understandably, because of the way our homes are, they'll shove something against the wall and put their gear on it. So you stood there DJing literally with your head 1.5 feet from the wall. It's fine. I've had lots of DJ setups like that over the years, but the ones I've liked the best have been like this, where I'm actually, the wall's behind me and I'm facing out. So there's two things here. Most important one is it's getting you used to that feeling. You know, anyone in that room is going to be in front of you. So of course you're not going to have a crowd to practice to all the time, but there will be times when you've got your friends there and family are wandering in and out and stuff. You're getting used to the idea of having an audience in front of you. It's a psychological thing. And believe me, there's nothing wrong with, when no one's looking, pretending there's a big audience in front of you. And it's actually great practice for performing later down the line to do that. So don't feel silly pretending that they're there. It's a lot easier to pretend they're there if there isn't a wall right here. You get me? So if you can have your gear facing out into the room, all the better. And by the way, if you do have half a dozen people around, you've had a few drinks or you've piled back from the pub and your gear's already set up and it's facing into the room, you might just have a little mini party on your hands. Mind you don't blow your speakers when you flip them around and turn everything up though, won't you? So that's my tips for setting up a DJ workspace. We're nearly at the end of the gear section, and the only thing we've got left to talk about is a little bit like getting the insurance in place before you open a shop for the first time. And that is this little baby. This is too important for us to leave to hope and to chance. We need to know that this is set up properly for our gear, and that everything we do from now on, because the next module is all about your music, and once you bought that first tune, we're on a different path. Everything you do from now on with this is backed up and safe and optimized. So in the next and final video in the gear section, we're going to look at optimizing your laptop and backing up everything on it from this second onwards. And then we're ready to move into music in the next module. I will see you for optimizing and backing up your laptop in the next lesson. Meanwhile, underneath, if you've got any questions at all about setting up your DJ workspace. See you soon.